Welcome to part 8 of my Miraculous redesign series, this time Mayura. Real quick, spoilers ahead. So originally going into her, I didn't really know what I was going to do. That happens with characters. There are two types of characters when it comes to these redesigns. I know exactly what I want and I have a hard time getting there, and or I have no idea what I'm going to do. She was part of the latter group. So how did I come up with her design? Quick answer, the pose. Yep, you heard that right. I often spend a long time just trying to find the right pose to show off as much of the outfit as possible. And for her, after spending a good 15-20 minutes looking for a pose, I found one that gave me showman vibes. And that's the one I wound up using, and it wound up inspiring her outfit. However, despite that, she is the first character I have had to check in the series to make sure I wasn't accidentally, design element for design element, copying somebody else's design. I was able to find the piece that I was thinking about, re-uploaded to Pinterest. The uploader credited somebody by the name of starlight_.astar on Instagram. However, I'm not sure if their account exists anymore because I couldn't find it when I went searching. But anyway, the piece in question shows Gabriel, Emily, and Amelie in the Peacock Miraculous, and it's specifically the one of Emily that I thought I was copying. Luckily, I wasn't. We're good. We're chilling. I do think, though, that piece was living in the back of my mind as an inspiration while I was doing this. However, it was also living rent-free in my mind alongside this potentially stereotypical idea of magician's assistants. You might know what I'm talking about, like the leotard with the feathers and frills and those kinds of things. Luckily, that all kind of wound up mixing together and creating this sort of showman vibe, which I kind of took and ran with, while I was both redesigning her and rewriting her. But we'll get into that. This thing is 7 minutes long, I gotta pad it out some, okay? In terms of my thoughts on Mayura's canon design, it's fine. It's not my favorite, but it's fine. So for the redesign, I gave her this dark blue blazer jacket with the tailcoats becoming the peacock feathers. The peacock feathers being her tailcoats kind of draws from those initial inspirations, as well as my hawk moth redesign, where I gave him butterfly wing tailcoats, as well as Felix's canonical Argos design, where he also has peacock feather tailcoats. I know I said I'm not the biggest fan of her canon design, but the colors are nice, which is why the purple of her dress makes a return here in the leotard. It also helped tie everything together in a way that I really like. I also gave her some almost knee-high boots that are in fact heeled, along with gloves and tights, but you don't see those until a little bit later. Anyway, I would like to consider this a redemption. For anybody who doesn't know, I was originally doing this series in a kind of random order, just doing who I felt in the moment, which is why Viperian is part 3, instead of what will be part 8, like he is supposed to be. Well, I guess I would actually make him part 7. We'll get into that maybe some other time. So anyway, I was doing these characters kind of randomly, and I can't remember if it was before Rena Rouge or after Rena Rouge. I wanted to do Argos, and I attempted to do him, and everything just kept going wrong. So there isn't an official video for him. You can find the footage, but it's a bad design. I don't like it. I plan to do him again later down the line. But for right now, it is time to talk about Natalie, both in canon and in my rewrite. Canonically, Natalie is a very loyal person. She is loyal to the Agrest family, she is loyal to Gabriel for a majority of the show, and now turning into season 6, it seems that she is loyal to whatever the heck is going on with that organization. I actually can't wait to see what comes of that. Anyway, she is very loyal, and despite what some creators say for some reason, very much became Mayura of her own will. She knew the Miraculous was broken. She knew what might happen to her, but she kept being Mayura. And please correct me if I'm wrong, because I probably am, But if I'm remembering correctly, Gabriel really only tried to stop her twice. When she was introduced, noting that it was a bad idea and that she shouldn't do it, and then again in Feast, and that was only because her condition was truly starting to get bad. Which is honestly why his wish to bring her back at the end of season 5 kind of irks me the wrong way. Like, he really didn't care all that much about her. Because in my mind, if he truly did care, he would have stopped her from being Mayura a lot earlier, or he himself would have started using the Peacock Miraculous while it was still damaged. Because do you not realize that he himself didn't start using it until after it was repaired? So turning to the rewrite, before we get too far, I'd like to note that I'm not as far into it as I would like, so a lot of what I'm about to say is very subject to change. Back in Hawkmoth's video, I mentioned wanting to make him a much more manipulative person. And one way that I want to do this is by having him manipulate Natalie into becoming Mayura. Again, that is subject to change, and I think I've mentioned before that I don't want to talk too much about a lot of things because I want to leave a lot of surprises. But one thing I do want to talk about in the minute or so we have left is the power set of the Peacock Miraculous. I have seen some people that go and change it to other things because Sentimonsters don't make sense, to which, half agree. But also, I am keeping that as a thing because I have a really kind of insane idea that I'm kind of thinking about making the new season 3 finale, because with me wanting to redeem Chloe, the actual season 3 finale doesn't really work. But I don't want to talk about it too much because I want to leave it a really big surprise. Even then though, with the exceptions of the designs, and even then some of that, this is all just concepts. This is subject to change and might and is likely to change depending on the story I'm trying to tell at that point in time. Which is also why I don't really like to reveal a lot. Anyways, with us coming up on the end of the video here, I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for sticking around this long. Next episode, we'll be back on the heroes side with Pegasus. And I really much hope you enjoy Mayura's final design as much as I do.